And now the bean men have come. It's quite busy outside, even though it's getting dark. I know that a lot of you like to talk about money. I know that a lot of you are bothered about how much money you will make if you were a solicitor, a barrister, a paralegal, legal exec, or you have a law degree and you were to take up a job with your law degree. I'm going to talk to you about how much barristers in England and Wales make. I would rather talk about how much they make in a year than how much they make in a month. I'm going to give you some recommendations before the end of this video, but let's get right into this video. How much do barristers make in a year? If you haven't seen my video where I talked about how much lawyers make and paid specific attention to how much solicitors make, you should see that video after this video. Also, if you haven't seen the video where I took you around chambers and discussed in some length what barristers do as opposed to what solicitors do, you should see that video. This video is going to be talking about how much barristers make in a year. And the reason why I have gone for a year as opposed to how much they would make in a month is because it's easier to round up how much a person makes in a year than in a month. Statistics have it that 80% of them are self-employed and 20% would work in companies, in-house, or any other establishments. Now, if you do not know what self-employed means, it means that you are employed by yourself. So barristers will work under a covering which we call chambers. Solicitors work in firms, barristers work in chambers. What working in chambers means is that they would have to bring in money for the chambers and they would fee share. It means that if they do not bring in money, they would not make money. So it is pay as you earn. That means that you might have more money in a month than you would make in the very next month. So a barrister who has, for instance, 10 clients in November might have 30 clients in December. He might have the one client who pays heavily in November, and that means that he might have more money with 10 clients than he would have with 30 clients if they were being funded by the legal aid agency. If you do not know, the legal aid agency is practically the government paying a barrister or a solicitor for the work that they carry out. The government does not pay as much as private paying clients. So it depends on who the barrister's clients are. I keep getting text messages, so I must respond. So how much a barrister makes would depend on the location that the barrister is at. If the barrister works in London, they will make more money than if they worked outside London. Also, if they work in an establishment that pays them a fixed salary, that would determine how much they actually take home at the end of the year. That would be very different from a barrister who, like I explained, will only get money for work carried out because they had a certain number of clients. Make sense? So for instance, if a barrister works in a company or an organization that pays that barrister £50,000 every year, that is a set salary based on the contract between the barrister and the barrister's employer. But then if the barrister is employed by himself or herself, then the number of clients that they get in a particular year would determine how much they make that year. Now, I wanted to bring you some interesting statistics, basically because as a lawyer, I love research and I love to give you concise and collated evidence. I cannot go to chambers and find out how much the barristers earn. I could never ask anyone how much they earn. But then I went on a trusted website. It's called prospects.ac.uk. Prospects.ac.uk says that the salaries for those undertaking pupilage, and if you do not know what that is basically the final stage of qualifications of the bar, would be £18,866 per year in London. So like I said before, people who work in London will make more money than people who work outside London. If you were outside London, then your employer could not pay you anything less than £16,000 £633. These minimum salaries are actually set by the Bar Standards Board. However, if a particular barrister who is undertaking pupilage were working for a top commercial set, they could get up to £50,000. Like I said before, where you work will determine how much money you bring home at the end of the year. Also, the kind of work that you carry out will determine how much you get. So if you are in private practice, you would get a lot of money, because some of you have asked me that you actually think that commercial lawyers are actually lawyers who work in very high-rise tall buildings in London. Not necessarily. I am a commercial lawyer even though I am in private practice, because I carry out commercial work. Yes, someone who works, close to the Shard will get more money, perhaps, but it just really depends on the kind of work that a barrister will carry out or how frequent the barrister's work is. Now, talking about qualified barristers in private practice, how much do they get? Prospects.ac.uk says that qualified barristers in private practice with around 5 years experience can earn anything from £50,000 to £200,000 a year. That is really, really good money. As you see, that is a very wide range, £65,000 to £200,000. So again, it will depend on the kind of work that the barrister carries out. It will also depend on the barrister's location. It also depends to a great extent to how much a particular chambers is recognized. If a particular chambers is really recognized, they will get more work than a chambers that is not really recognized. So as a solicitor, I might be prone to go to particular chambers because they are reputable chambers, as opposed to going to a smaller, I'm not saying that's what I do, but as opposed to going to a smaller chambers that I've never maybe even heard about, or I do not know anybody there. Sometimes the clients actually know the barristers that they want to use. They also would know the chambers they want to use. We're not allowed to discriminate, so we cannot say, no, you must use a black barrister, you must use a white barrister, and the clients as well are not allowed to discriminate, so they cannot tell me we want a short white barrister or tall black barrister. That can lead into discrimination. But sometimes I would have clients that have used a particular chambers and will be happy to carry on with that chambers. So if that chambers is known and they have delivered good results in the past, then a client will be more prone to use a barrister from that chambers. It doesn't mean that the barristers in a smaller chambers or in a chamber that is not really recognized is not good enough. It's just there's so much that goes into instructing a barrister. And if a barrister is not instructed, they do not get paid, and so their salary would not be as much as the salary of a barrister in a well-known chambers. Qualified barristers with at least 10 years experience in private practice can actually bring in a salary between £65,000 to £1 million. Wow. I know you like talking about money. But you see, if you were to be making £1 million in a year, you would have to be working crazy hours. If you want to turn yourself into a machine, you can actually have a mental breakdown, a physical burnout, or you can actually lose your family in the process. You can lose your social life. There's so much that you can lose. So I do not want you to go away thinking that you should become a barrister, make £1 million a year, and that you will live a very happy life. Many of us as professionals actually are struggling with the work. Many people did not tell you what they struggle with. But even the law society and our regulators do know that a lot of us are stressed at work and that we have burnouts. So I do not want you to think that you will definitely make £1,000,000. I would rather that you have passion for the law, and then the money will definitely come in. Yes, people make about £1,000,000. Even solicitors can make up to that, especially if you're self-employed. I mean, the sky is the limit. If you work in a place where you have to wait for the manager to die before you get a promotion, it might be that you're stuck on a particular salary, for instance £50,000 a year, until you grow grey. Just joking there. But yes, just joking. If you are self-employed, in a month you might make about £5,000, and in the next month you might make about £20,000. Yes, because you would have had more clients, or you could make less. That is what the business is with being self-employed. So I do not want you to go away thinking, I'm going to become a barrister and I'm going to make £1,000,000 in a year. Very far from it. If you have just started, you need to remember why you chose the law. You need to have passion, because you need a lot of experience to build up to £1,000,000 a year. I have instructed silks. If you do not know, silks are like the highest rank of barristers. They're called QC, meaning Queen's Counsel. Now, on the lower side of the spectrum, a barrister can earn as little as £20 per hour, especially for newly qualified barristers who undertake legal aid work. So if you don't know what legal aid work is, that is working for the government. So you know, like when someone commits a crime, they would normally have the rights to a solicitor or to a barrister. So barristers who work in the courts carrying out legal aid work in criminal law cases do not get as much money as their counterparts who work in top commercial sets. That is a given. So again, where you work will determine to a great extent how much you bring in. Also, if you get £1,000,000 in a year, it doesn't mean that you will keep the £1,000,000. The more money you earn in England and Wales, the more tax you have to pay, the higher your tax band. So you will need to pay tax on that money. You will need to pay for your clerks. You will need to pay rent to chambers, and if the chambers belongs to you, obviously a lot of that money will be spent running the chambers. You will need to pay insurance. Our insurance as solicitors or barristers is very, very high. So you don't necessarily keep the £1,000,000, but it is good money. Someone who works in the criminal law courts or works in an establishment that pays them on a contract, example, your salary is £50,000 a year, would not be able to make £1,000,000. But if you are fee sharing, if you are self-employed, it's possible that you can make that kind of money, because for self-employed people, the sky is their limit. You can make as much money and fee share with your employer or with chambers. That means that if you were to broker a deal and you make, for instance, £20,000 in a month, chambers or whoever your employers are that you are fee sharing with will take maybe 50% and you keep 50%. The next month you might make £30,000. And can you imagine, if you keep 50%, they keep 50%. So someone who is self-employed would make more money than someone who had a fixed salary. I am not advocating that you become self-employed. I am just telling you how it works in practice. Also, someone who works for a fixed salary but is allowed to fee share, because that can happen. You can have a fixed salary of say £50,000, but you're allowed to fee share on, you know, if maybe you brought in your own client or anything, just depends what your agreement is with your employer, then you would definitely make a lot of money. So if a person was working in a commercial establishment where they get bonuses and they get some money from deals that they broker, yes, they can get £1 million, because if they are getting a percentage of a £2 million deal and that percentage is fixed, then they will be taking home a lot of money. But things to consider are the nature of work of the barrister, the area of law of the barrister, the barrister's experience and hourly fees, who the barrister works for, the location of the barrister, the outgoings and the incomings of the barrister. So, location, where are you based? If you're in London, you'll make more money. Area of law, commercial, you'll make more money than someone who was a criminal law barrister and gets paid by the legal aid agency. If you are a tax specialist, you can make as good as £900 per hour as a barrister. So that is area of law as well. Also, your hourly fees. So if you worked in chambers and you were a junior and your hourly fees were, say, £200 plus VAT, even though you work same hours as a silk, you definitely will be making no near £1 million as a silk. A silk can make a lot of money. They are Queen's Bench. I almost even whistle there. QCs are Queen's Counsel, not Queen's Bench. But before you get to silk, you be clever like that. But yes, there are many silks and there are some very young ones. So it is really, really possible. Also, your outgoings. You pay for chambers rent, you pay for telephone, you pay for all of that. And so that can reduce how much you would take home even after you've made the £1 million. And there are other things to consider. Also, like I said, if you are not very popular or you're just starting out and a lot of people do not know you. So there's so much that goes into how much a barrister makes and how much they can actually keep. I have instructed silks that I have paid £150,000 for a hearing. Not one day, I'm not going to say how many days, but if you're making £150,000 in a month, then yes, you can make £1 million in a year. Follow? But you do not become a silk QC in one day. Is a lot of work that goes in. Even when you sit with silks, feels like they have replaced their brains with machines because they are that good. So I would say make sure that your reason for practicing law is because you like the law, and there is so much that would come with your love for the law. I hope that this video has been helpful. Do not forget to like, to subscribe, share. Feel free to leave your message down there. I will try as much as possible to respond to your messages. Are you interested in videos concerning barristers or solicitors? I want to know. Drop your comments in the link. And if many of you want to see videos concerning barristers, then I will make another video concerning barristers. But if a lot of you want to see videos concerning solicitors, I will make the next video concerning solicitors. Do you want to be a barrister? Do you want to be a solicitor? Or are you just content with a law degree and using your law degree for alternative work? I have left a video on alternative careers that you can pursue with your law degree. Can you hear the child crying? I think the child is saying, time to go, Delphine. Time to go, Delphine. All right then, I'll see you in another video. Bye for now. Bye for now, it's Delphine, and it's been nice talking to you. I'll see you later. Bye now.